Thompson, number one here with head coach of St. Ambrose University, Bo Bettinson, in his first year of coaching wrestling at St. Ambrose University. Coach, what are the challenges you face in a first year program?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest issue that I feel like I had was kind of just the unknown, right? I didn't know what I didn't know until I didn't know it. So just things pop up that you don't really try to plan for. Um, yeah, it was just kind of all over the place this year with COVID not being un. You never know what was going to happen, and trying to recruit while COVID was going on was definitely a challenge. Trying to move into an area where I didn't know anybody. So trying to build relationships with the local high school coaches and trying to put together a staff. That was definitely a little challenging, but yeah, all in all, I mean, I think it ended up going pretty well. But man, it was just a curveball after curveball. It seemed like I was always on my toes.
But you guys definitely had what I would call a very successful first year. I mean, you won 5 dual wins.
Mm-hmm.
You pretty much a match here, a match there. You would have had 7 wins because you
Yep.
because you came really close to beating William Penn,
Yep.
came really close to beating Iowa Wesleyan,
Yep.
and lost some very close duels to them. Then on top of it, in a very competitive Heart of America conference tournament, you guys finished fifth,
Yep.
which is great for a first-year program. And then on top of it, you had 3 NAIA qualifiers that all finished in the top three at the Heart of America program. So what does that speak to the volumes of the hard work that you as a coach and your wrestlers put into this season?
I mean, when you put it that way, it sounds really cool, right? I definitely, I'm a little more hard, a little more harsh about it. But no, it was. I mean, it was good. What I'm most proud of, I think, all those things are definitely awesome. But what I'm most proud of is just the cohesiveness that we built throughout the year. Is as a first year program, anytime any program that trying to start is you want to build a good culture, right? You want to make sure that these guys feel welcome, building a family. So what I'm most proud of about this year is just the togetherness that we did have as a team. The guys came together really, really well. So I think that that's why we had the success we did at the end of the year was the guys weren't fighting for themselves. They were fighting for the guy next to them. They were fighting for the coaches because they knew we had their back. They had our back. So I think that's the biggest thing I think we have to take away from the year is and kind of build on is we we laid the foundation. It's it's there now. It's just now we got to continue to get better.
Now, before you came here to take over the St. Ambrose program, you were part of the historic program, the tradition that is Montana State Northern.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the values and some of the ethics that you learned while you were at Montana State Northern?
I mean, the biggest one was just that family atmosphere. I will say my most funnest I've ever had wrestling was up in Montana, just because the we were good, right? It's really fun when you're winning, but it wasn't even just the winning. It was I built some relationships there that are gonna last forever. The athletes that I had the pleasure of coaching they're just excellent, good men. I mean, one's a sheriff now. I mean, got to go to weddings and I get the baby pictures in the mail and the wedding announcements and all that stuff. I think that's why they are so good is because they know at MSU Northern that is a family. Once you buy into that program, you are a light for life, and they will always have your back. So that's what I'm trying to take from there and bring over here. That's why they're good. It's wrestling. I mean, really, at the end of the day, it's X's and O's, and everybody's running sprints, everybody's shooting high crotches. It's what are you doing outside of that? And they have a winning culture over there, and it's just those athletes know that they are loved and they're cared for, and now it's just replicating that over here.
You grew up in an area like you're not an Iowa boy, you're
Nope.
not a Pennsylvania kid, you're not an Ohio boy. So when people think wrestling, they usually think those 3 states, maybe Illinois, sometimes some other places as well. You grew up in an area people don't think wrestling,
No,
right?
not even a little bit.
So is there anything unique that you think you might be able to bring to the table that someone from like Iowa or Pennsylvania would not bring?
Um, I think especially like an outside perspective from like the traditional Iowa style, right? Go forward, we don't get tired. The hard hand fighting in your face. It's like I came from a background where we did right. You always have that mystique of Iowa and the Iowa style wrestling, and we learned that. But man, we got people from all over the place to come and teach us, so we kind of blended a lot, right? So we had like Abbas, Stephen Abbas is from California. He's not too far away, so he used to come up and do clinics and stuff. So I learned a lot of that funk kind of California roll, that kind of stuff from Stephen Abbas. And then you have John Smith coming up and doing camps, so you kind of get to see some of that stuff. And Cale Sanderson would come and do camps, and and then you'd have the Brands brothers do stuff. So it's kind of getting a best of all worlds a little bit and try to blend the styles. So I think I bring a different perspective that some of these kids have never seen. Is like their whole life they've been told don't get tired, right? They're like afraid to get tired. Well, it's okay to get tired. Like I was telling our guys that this year a bunch, and they kind of looked at me like, "What do you mean it's okay to get tired?" Like have you ever wrestled a 7-minute match and not been tired? Right? It's okay.
Or 30 seconds in
Yeah,
my case.
exactly. Right? You're gonna get tired. It's just being able to function in that tired. And if you're tired, that guy's gonna be tired too. So just fall in love with that feeling, right? So just kind of changing the perspective, and at the end of the year, they start kind of buying into it, and it ended up working out. But just kind of, I think the way I approach the sport's a little bit different than how they've been coached their whole life. So just trying to knock down some of those walls.
You have a very good and unique coaching staff here with John Taranas and Aaron Bartels and Trace Timmons. You kind of have like a background here because Trace was at Davenport Assumption for a long time, and then John Therese also coached at both Assumption as well as Moline, and then Bartels was at I believe Cornell. Is that correct?
Yep.
So I guess my question there is when you have like coaches from different areas, like you spent some time at both Montana State Northern and as well as your alma mater, Waldorf, whereas Taranis is coming straight from the high school scene. Does that help to kind of have someone who is so involved in high school for such a long time
Yeah.
for recruiting purposes?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was real integral in kind of starting to help me get some of the local guys. I mean, if you look at our roster, we have a ton of local kids, and a lot of that's going to be Coach John. And he's just so plugged into the high school scene around here because I mean he coached in Moline, coached at Assumption, from the area, right? He grew up in Moline, so he has so many ties to the area, so that helps a lot. He introduced me to, I swear it's like a different coach a week, right? We're just and he's so bought in and he's so connected on both the Illinois and the Iowa side. So having him was adding him was integral in kind of our success for sure, and him having head coach experience helped a lot too, right? Because he kind of knew it's not just coming into practice and running practice every day, right? He knows like how to operate, run the operating budget, planning the schedule and travel and all the stuff that goes into that. So that happens as a wrestling coach, but when you're the one that actually has to do it, it's like there's a lot of stuff that goes into it, running receipts and all that stuff. So he was real integral in keeping me on track for sure.
When we talk about the success of wrestling, a lot of times, as coaches and wrestlers, we often think about it in terms of winning matches and getting medals at tournaments and so on and so forth. There's another side of success of wrestling as well, and that's the success of growing the sport from a popularity standpoint.
For
And
sure.
I noticed coming down here, I was able to make it to two dual meets this year. You guys had a great crowd, a very enthusiastic crowd. There are wrestling programs that have been around for 100 years that don't have that, and you
Yeah.
guys had that in your first year.
Yeah.
What was a contributing factor to having such an enthusiastic response from the community?
Um, One, I think the community wanted a wrestling program on the Iowa side, right? You have Augustana in Moline or in Rock Island, just right over the river. But wanting another college wrestling program in the area, having so many local guys, so the community wanted to come out and support and watch them. But also, I think just the excitement of what we could be, right? Having a kid like Matt Robertson, who's kind of a legend in the area, right? sport. And then I think part of it was they wanted to see, are we going to be good or are we not? And then having people like Trace and Coach Bartle and Coach John who they have so much tied to the area, so they can get out and they can go promote and, talking to high school coaches, having the high school coaches come out, talking to the student body, we had the entire lacrosse team in the stands, for most of our duels. So I think there was just a little bit of mystery, like, are we going to be good? What's going to happen? Nobody expected us to win any duels, but winning that first one was definitely awesome. But just getting that first win was it was so electric and so people had so much fun. And I thought we put on a pretty good show that now they kind of want to come and see, what is it? Well, because we're having fun. So you said that you came to the duels. Like, we're having a lot of fun I'm a very animated coach, right? So I'm having a lot of fun, and I think there's a lot of jokes going around. It's like how much I move around and stuff, and I think people want to come see it. I don't know. Honestly, I was really shocked having that many people in the stands the first time. So thank you guys for coming out and support, man. It's fun.
We'll definitely be coming to more next year too, hopefully. So, a lot of times when a new program starts, I've been following wrestling since I was a little bitty kid way back in the early 90s. And there are programs that will fight and struggle to get one qualifier after years of having a program. You guys put 3 kids through, including a champion at the Heart of America conference tournament, as well as a runner-up and a third placer. What was the key to getting those kids to perform so well in their first tournament?
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Well, not for Robertson, but
I mean, that was his first conference tournament, though.
Right, but I mean.
Yeah. So I mean, it's I think a lot of it was just buying in. It's like, guys, we're there. We can compete with these guys. It's just you just have to believe it. You got to look at our season. I've kind of equated it like this. It's like we had a very freshman season. Came out of the gate, wrestling awesome. A lot of excitement. Man, we're doing good. We're doing good. We're doing good. Winter break comes, we kind of plateau, right? We had a rough winter break. Everybody, top to bottom, we had a really rough winter break. And it was just that freshman lull. You see a lot of times freshmen will go on a little slump and they'll lose 8, 9 matches in a row. And it's like, man, it sucks. It's getting hard. Is it worth it? It's cold outside. Coach is yelling at me. We're doing 2 days and we're running and and I got to cut weight. And all my friends are at home on winter break. And I'm in the wrestling room. And then we come back from winter break. Classes start back up. We kind of get back into our routine. And practices start getting a little bit easier because now we're going to start our peak and they started coming together. And I think it was just buying in and trusting the process and understanding, like, look, we can wrestle with these guys, you just have to believe it. And they started believing it at the end. It's like, I mean, we're there. They can't. We qualified 3 and a lot of people kind of are like, hey, that's cool, you qualified 3, really good job. Man, I think we left 3 guys on the table. I realistically do. I thought we should have qualified 6 guys. So outside looking in, you're like, man, that's really cool, you got 3 through. Man, I look at it as like, we should have had 6. I think we should have finished 4th in the conference tournament because I think we were the 4th best team. That's just, every coach is going to say that, but I realistically do. So, so we fell a little short of the goal, but we had good conference tournament for sure.
Speaking of falling short of the goal, you guys were so close in crowning your first All-American. Matt Robertson's in the round of 12 match, loses such a heartbreaker right there to not be an All-American, but yet he's still got a lot of eligibility left, plenty of time to get on that award stand and earn those medals. What was it like being so close like that, and what are your thoughts for next season? Because personally, my opinion, kid's good enough to win it.
I agree with you. That's Matt Robertson's the best kid in that bracket. I'm not afraid to say it. He picked a bad day to have a bad day. But a lot of that, I mean, I've spent a lot of time kind of re-looking at that national tournament. I think all in all, we didn't approach it the right way. And that's going to be on me as a coach, is like, we put too much pressure on Matt a little bit for being the first national champion, being the first All-American, and you're there. It's like, this is just another tournament, right? We just got to wrestle. If Matt wrestles like he did at the conference tournament, I don't know if there's anybody in the country in the NAI that can beat him. I mean, that kid's so good. But what what changed from conference to nationals? Well, preparation changed a little bit. We actually, I don't even think the preparation changed. It was the way we were communicating changed. Uh, we put too much stock into that one tournament. You know, it's just another tournament. It's just another match. Go wrestle your wrestling match, and at the end of it, get your hand raised, now let's go wrestle another one. Right? We started kind of looking ahead. Well, if we win here, then we got this kid. But if we lose, we fall back. Right? We were doing too much of that, and right, that's the first thing that you always get taught as wrestlers. Just wrestle the match in front of you, one match at a time. Don't worry about it, right? Well, we started kind of playing that game a little bit too much, and I think it showed in his performance too. He wrestled really tight. He didn't wrestle free like he did at the conference tournament, right? He's popping shots off in his mixer, right? Winning scrambles at the national tournament. He was a little timid and wasn't getting to his shots clean, wrestling too straightforward, not finding angles, not getting out from bottom, not punishing people on top. So it was, um, you know, I think a lot of that kind of falls back on the coaching staff. It's like we need to approach it a little bit differently. So that one I kind of take. I take that one.
Sure, absolutely. That's an interesting philosophy that you have that I would say that a lot of coaches actually probably don't share with you. You know, being around the wrestling world for over 30 years and studying it and talking to various coaches, a lot of times the mentality is, which I think is kind of insane and crazy in a way. I mean, we work so hard for 6 months of the year, right? And then oftentimes kids are obviously, they're working out all year round.
Oh,
We
yeah,
know
there's
that.
no off season.
But there's no off season, of course, at all, but you're 100% committed for 6 months.
Oh, yeah,
right?
sure.
Versus the other 6 months of the year, you're still working your butt off, but you have other commitments as well.
Yeah.
When during the season, it's all season. So the question I have for you here is, you were saying earlier that the national tournament is just another tournament. And that oftentimes is not the philosophy of how these kids grew up. A lot of times these kids grew up in situations where you wrestle all year long, and the thing you keep hearing again over and over again, oh, don't worry about it, all that matters is March, all that matters is March, all that matters is March, where you're trying to kind of give a different philosophy of still treating it like it's an extremely important thing, but not taking it too seriously. So I'd like you to elaborate a little bit more on that.
I mean, everybody knows that the most important tournament at the end of the year is the national tournament, right? Everybody knows that. So why drive that into their head, right? Because then, right, what happens is what happened to Matt Robertson is you go to the national tournament and you wrestle tight and you fall short of your goal, right? It's just approaching it, right? Just getting in that mindset of this is just another wrestling match. Matt Robertson's been in so many big wrestling matches that he doesn't need to be told that this match is important. He knows this match is important. All these guys know that these matches are important. So why don't we take that stress and that nervousness off of them and just give them the freedom to go, hey, it doesn't matter. Coach is going to love me either way, so it doesn't matter whether I win or lose. What matters is how I go out and I go wrestle and I go perform, right? When you wrestle loose and you wrestle right free and go score points, good things happen. It's when you wrestle tight and nervous and, man, if I lose this position now I'm down 3-2, and right, get out of your head and just wrestle, right? And I think that comes from just letting that pressure go, letting that fear of getting beat and that fear of losing your dream, just let it go. Let it go and go wrestle. Go score points, have fun. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, in 15 years from now, Matt Robertson's going to look back on that tournament and go, man, that sucked. Right? I have a bunch of them. I look back at them and I go, man, that sucked. But guess what? It is what it is. Right? So if you just get out of your head and just open up and have fun, and you let the match figure out how, you know, it'll, at the end of 7 minutes, whistle's going to blow, you win or you lose. Give yourself an opportunity to win. Wrestling tight's not going to do that. So just I try to alleviate some of that pressure, which I didn't do a very good job of this year, but all the way up to the conference, I thought we had an awesome conference tournament. We did that. Conference was like, hey guys, just let it fly. Nationals, we kind of wrestled too tight, so have to fix that. Hope that answers your question.
Excellent answer, excellent answer. So one of my last questions for you here is, I'm a young man in southeast Iowa, southwest Illinois, or
Yeah.
who knows, maybe I'm from Canada for all we know. Why St. Ambrose? Why the NAIA? Why Davenport, Iowa?
Well, so we'll kind of start with why the NAI, right? The NAI gives so many opportunities to young men to pursue their college degree, which has got to be the most important, and continue to wrestle, right? We give athletic scholarship, right? Something that like a Division III can't, no knock on Division III, but that's a little, kind of sets us apart a little bit. But the NAI gives you an opportunity to, right? You can be the backup and still go win a national title, right? That's something that you can't do at a Division II or Division III or Division I, right? We get to take 2 extra guys, so you get an opportunity. We get 12 guys. You can go wrestle. So um, the NAI is a special place. I think we get looked down upon sometimes because like you always hear like Division I, Division II, Division III, junior college, and then NAI, right? And we're just as good as those guys. We're just as good as the Division III and the Division II. These guys can wrestle, right? Look at Grandview, right? Those guys are good, right? So we're just as good. So if you want to wrestle and you want an opportunity to wrestle the best guys in the country, they're in the NAI. Why St. Ambrose? Well, again, you're going to get a great education. We have awesome facilities, academic facilities, not even just athletic facilities. We have awesome academic facilities. We really believe in your student experience. We really believe in your student athlete experience. So we give you top of the line facilities. Why St. Ambrose Wrestling? Well, why don't you come start a legacy? It's really easy to go somewhere that has built one, right? You can go to Grandview. They have a legacy. If you can get in their lineup, you're going to be an All-American, maybe a national champion. Or you can come to St. Ambrose and start a legacy. You can look back 15 years when we're doing great things and say, I was the first one to do that. I started that. Because we're going to get there. Why not be you? Why not start something that you can look back on and be proud of? Chase a dream. Do it here. Because you can win here.
You can win here. That is the philosophy and the mindset of head coach Bo Bettinson of St. Ambrose University. I am Johnny Thompson, #1. I want to thank you again for your time, Coach, and best of luck next season.